welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon. Hey, Natasha, greetings to you. And I'm so glad you could join me today on this President's Day. I did remember something late last night. Totally changed my plans. The DMV is not open on President's Day. Yeah. I'll tell you why that was important to me later, but we've got a great show today. I got a number of news stories to get through, but first up, I want to talk about President's Day because I was thinking about it, and so many presidents we don't even know. We don't even know their name, right? Much less what they did. You know, we've got this name, President's Day. What exactly is it? But often, presidents will just come to represent a time. So that's the story to get to. So, yeah, why don't we just get into it? That's right. Today's President's Day, which means across America, we're doing what humans have always done best, turning a massive, complicated system into one person with a portrait. We don't celebrate incentive structures. We don't celebrate institutional momentum. No, we don't celebrate supply chains or regulatory layers, demographic waves or second order effects. No, we celebrate a face. Because the human brain doesn't like complexity. It likes characters, stories, leads, villains, chapters with names. History is enormous. Memory, tiny, tiny. So we compress entire eras into a single figure, and we call it understanding. The Lincoln era, the Reagan years, the Obama economy, the Trump border. 300 million people, millions of moving parts, reduced to a label you can say in 2 seconds. It's not stupidity, it's cognitive compression. It's how the mind makes a giant world portable. But the shortcut comes with a cost. Once we anchor an era to a person, everything that happens during that era starts feeling like it was caused by that person. Gas prices move? Well, must be the president. Markets swing? Definitely the president. Culture shifts? Somehow, still the president. We don't just elect executives, we assign authorship. But most real outcomes are multivariable, slow-moving, system-driven, decisions made earlier by committees you've never heard of. Incentives buried in policy, global forces that nobody controls. The president is often less like the driver and more like the hood ornament. Highly visible, emotionally important, and not connected to the steering column whatsoever. Supporters turn presidents into masterminds, right? 4D chess. Opponents turn them into supervillains. Both sides quietly agree on the same exaggeration that one person is running the whole machine. Presidents aren't the whole story. They're an anchor point our minds use to hold the story still. They're narrative anchors. They're not solo authors. We remember the face and forget the engine. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffee and Nuance Show, your favorite streaming show right now. Flame on. Yeah, so let me just tell you exactly how this compression works and why our brains just keep doing it. So let's go over here to the slides. I should move the slides to the side so I can read it. There we go. One little tip for you. Don't spill whiskey on your mouse. It doesn't work as well. And it sticks. And then it can embarrass you while you're trying to do a live stream and you can't click on something. Just saying. So here we are. And today, the main topic that I want to introduce you to on this President's Day is that presidents are narrative anchors. Okay, so their faces are just a memory shortcut. So the face is just a compression tool of everything that happens. We just assign to that president's face. That's just kind of how we do it. Outcomes, there's lots of variables on to why we have outcomes, right? And policy lag is a thing, right? Something that may have been started with one president doesn't really get implemented until the next president. But they're the ones that get the credit for it, or the blame, right? Reality is multi-causal. Stories are single causal. You may notice this anytime you're watching a movie or TV show or something. Everything gets reduced to just one cause. It's never a whole bunch of causes. But in real life, there's a lot of causes to things, not just one cause. So this whole system is really complex, and what our mind does is it just oversimplifies everything. There we go. Mouse worked that time. Got to click it a couple times. So, and this is something that I'll call narrative compression, right? So our accuracy, as it goes down, the memorability of something goes up, right? So the less accurate you are, the more memorable it is. The simpler it is, the easier it is to remember. We trade precision for recall. Probably recall is more important than precision, I think. A lot of people would agree with that. But everything gets attributed to the president. This is attribution bias. Visibility, it totally takes over for blame, right? Gas, markets, culture, crime. High visibility attracts false causation. So everything that's going on right now, that's all Trump. Everything. Even if it isn't. That's just how the system is designed. So going back to this hood ornament example that I had. The hood ornament is not the engine, right? The engine is what propels things forward. The hood ornament is out front. That's easy to see. That's highly visible. That's what the media looks for. That's what the camera looks for, right? Even if you're looking at a fancy car, you go to a car show, right? You check out the grill, you check out the hood ornament. That's the fancy, ornate thing that is out front, but it may have nothing to do with the steering or the engine behind it. Okay? And yeah, so anchors, they orient the stories. And it's not full authorship when you anchor a narrative, right? So you've got supporters, they give too much credit to the president, and opponents, they give too much blame to the president. That's just how everything operates. That's how our system operates. We remember the face, and we totally forget the engine behind the face. So that's what I want you to think about today on this President's Day. How much do we assign to the president, whether it's earned or unearned? That's the idea. Anyway, we've got a number of stories to get to today, so yeah, let us get to the stories. Let me turn the Chiron on. Let me turn the ticker on. It'll let you know next on the ticker is the story that I will do after this one. And then later, it'll be 2 stories away. If you want to keep track. Nobody cares, I know. I know. Oh, what's up? We got Gonzo over there on Rumble. What's up, Rumble gang? Thanks for joining today. But first up, I thought I'd have some a good kind of good news story. I like it. Again, I'm going back to the RT for a source, so you know that this video is going to be promoted. I don't know why it's cutting off the side of the story there, but we'll keep working on it. Anyway, Trump announced a new initiative, the Board of Peace. I've talked about this before, claiming to rally thousands of troops for deployment in Gaza. He also stated that member states have pledged $5 billion with a B toward humanitarian efforts in the region. Sounds like a win. This controversial move raises questions about U.S. military involvement in the ongoing conflict. And should we be concerned about who's contributing to the humanitarian efforts? I say no. I say take money from anyone. If we got a call and it was Satan himself saying, I would like to pledge $1 billion for some humanitarian relief for the people that need it in Gaza, I would say, you know what, Satan, we'll take your money too. You know, but that's just my opinion on it. Yeah, no jokes about this. It's too serious. But I guess you could have jokes about anything. Who knows? Maybe we can turn Gaza into what Trump talked about before. We can turn it into a vacation spot. We can turn it into a beautiful beachfront property and all of those things. Why not? Right? It's rubble now. Turn it into something. I think that'd be great. But you know what? This whole Board of Peace, I think most of the media is not buying it and is not going along with Trump's framing, which is too bad because I think that it is some real positive framing to be able to convince or persuade some world leaders to contribute to peace. We should probably encourage that, right? All the people that are in favor of peace, just because Trump's name is attached to it, you should, get over it, right? The idea here is peace. Could it be a smokescreen that Trump is just using humanitarian aid as a cover, right? It's less about peace and more about positioning and how do we really take control of things that are happening in that area. Perhaps. I don't know, but this is just diplomacy, I think. I see it as just kind of modern day diplomacy. But anyway, I think that's a little bit of good news to start the week. We got President Trump doing bold things here on President's Day. What is the next story that we have? Here we go. Oh, wow. I saw this. A new analysis reveals the long-suppressed truth. We got a little more transparency behind the Iraq War. The Bush administration used the myth of Saddam Hussein's involvement in 9/11 to justify the invasion. Well, everything comes out eventually, right? Or most things do. Recent evidence from lawsuits indicate that Saudi officials played a significant role in financing the attacks, and it totally contradicts the narrative that led to the war. Will there be any consequences for this? Probably not. I mean, we'll probably find out that the WWE is doing a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia in 2 years, right? That'll probably be the real news. Is there going to be any real consequences from this coming out that Saudi officials were financing 9/11. You would think this is something that would anger people on the streets. This would be something that people would protest about, but that would be if protests were organic, right? So I don't think we're going to see any accountability from this. And again, if you never hold anyone to account, history just kind of repeats itself. That's the way things work. But I will say that this, I kind of agree with the headline here. The biggest bait and switch war of the century. That's kind of how we should talk about taking out Saddam. It was a total bait and switch. And it really shows that the government can lie to its people, can deceive its people, can run propaganda on its people. And when the truth comes out 20 years later, or whatever it happens to be, 30 years, 25 years later, nothing happens. So if that's the case, they're probably going to keep doing it, right? At least now you know. This is an interesting headline here. The least laid generation in history. Gen Z is ghosting sex, and the implications are huge. Huge. And I guess to represent having sex, we got a picture of Sydney Sweeney, because that's how you represent sex in 2026. That's what we do. But a new study reveals that Gen Z is the least sexually active generation in history, with a sexual activity dropping to just 31.6%. This decline parallels a significant reduction in alcohol consumption and in-person interactions. Probably a combination of those two. Probably there's not just one cause here, right? There's probably multiple causes of why Gen Z is not doing it. Well, there's a lot of long-term implications for mental health and birth rates. So they're saying it's the rise of smartphones, changing social dynamics, financial burdens of child rearing. I don't really buy that last one. Money hasn't stopped people most of their life from having kids. But experts warn that these shifts could lead to demographic crisis, not just in the U.S., but globally, and affect everything from politics to the economic stability. I have noticed, though, just saying, Somali immigrants don't seem to have a problem not having 10 kids. They don't seem to be that concerned with social media or other factors. In fact, right, they don't even drink, right? So none of this is stopping the Somali immigrants from having 10 kids. So what's stopping you, Gen Z? Let's get to it. Yeah, I don't want a virtual relationship, right? And I don't think anyone really does. We don't want to go in that direction. So probably, I think a big portion of this is just kind of how we socialize now. People are not going out as much as they did in the past. I've noticed that when I've gone to shows, and when I was in my 20s, and I would go to see some live music, and you would see some dude my age, and you go, oh man, look at the old dude at the bar. And now, the old dude at the bar, when I go out to shows, I'm like, where are all the kids? It's just a bunch of old dudes. Yeah. Maybe it's just Portland. I don't know. But that's that. But here's some interesting change in influences that are coming. Here we are. Crypto industry wades into the midterms with a hefty war chest. So this is some news. The cryptocurrency industry is gearing up for the midterm elections with substantial financial backing, boasting around $193 million in cash through its leading super PAC, Fairshake. This financial muscle is aimed at influencing key races, including support for Representative Barry Moore. As the industry secures wins and expands its political footprint, the implications for regulatory policies and the future of crypto legislation are big deal. Big deal. So, crypto super PACs are looking at who they can target. Here they says some of the most prominent candidates targeted are Katie Porter in California. I've looked at Katie Porter. I don't think she stands a chance, in my opinion. She is, and we shouldn't really judge people on their looks, but she is ugly and just looks nasty. And you see her talk, and it's just nasty. She's an ugly, nasty woman. So you would think an ugly, nasty woman wouldn't have a chance, but she's got a D next to her name, so there you go. She's running for Senate in Congress. They're also targeting Sherrod Brown in Ohio and Bernie Moreno in Ohio. Now, Sherrod Brown is a Democrat. Bernie Moreno is a Republican. So crypto is not necessarily targeting one party over the other. They're targeting politicians that are not friendly to crypto. Because that's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal, especially if you're holding crypto. You certainly don't want it to be outlawed in your state or have extra regulations in your state where they seize your account. Ask me about that. Yeah. Again, Oregon, Binance cannot operate because some Dems down in Salem, Oregon decided that, they just decided that. So you can't even use this particular crypto exchange, one of the largest in the entire world, in Oregon. Crazy. But this is, another group, a special interest group, wielding their power. Would it be best if there were no special interest groups? Of course. That's not the world we live in. Oh, Hillary Clinton making a comeback and breaks with party line, admits mass migration is disruptive and destabilizing. So she's stirring up controversy for the Dems. She's at a Munich security conference this last weekend and admitted that mass migration has been disruptive and destabilizing. And this diverges from the Democrats' party that's traditionally more open stance on immigration. And perhaps this is a trial balloon to see, hey, how will people react to Hillary saying this? So can other Democrat politicians switch and move over to the side of sanity? Well, that's my take on it, of course. I think never mind. Some people are saying, is Hillary going to have a comeback? Is she trying to moderate her views so that she can roll back and be the comeback queen? I don't think so. I think she's doing the party a solid by just doing a test balloon here just to see what the reaction will be to that point of view. And I think other Dems will probably follow suit. Probably because they know that it's a losing issue and they want to get away from that, especially if they're going to win the midterms. So I think anyone that's stating this is some big Hillary comeback, dream on, right? We could only be so lucky to have a comeback of Hillary Clinton, right? But don't think that's happening. But we'll see. Love this Headline here, bastards worldwide. You don't get that headline on MSNBC, I don't think. Or what is it, MS Now? Is that what they are now? This is a big idea. Marriage norms are rapidly evolving globally with a significant rise in children born outside of marriage, particularly in Latin America and Nordic countries. Wow. Colombia tops the list at 87%. Boom. That's a Catholic country. That's something to think about. Countries like Japan and Korea are down at about 2.4%. The shift is influenced by cultural acceptance, legal frameworks, social support systems. Right? If the government sets up a system that punishes you for being married, but encourages you to stay single and take benefits from the state, well, look at what's happening. 87% in Colombia. I mean, what does that say about what Colombia thinks of the relevance of being married? And then you could follow that up with how how successful is Colombia at anything legal? Probably just a coincidence. Probably just a coincidence. The U.S. sits around 40%. So that's a lot lower. But it does show that, attitudes are changing and whatnot. But this could be, imagine a world, right, where marriage becomes a luxury. That might be the way to bring it back. Treat marriage, like a luxury brand. Because then everyone likes the luxury brand, right? You see all these poor people wearing designer clothes to kind of show that they're doing better than they actually are. The conspicuous consumption, the big logos, right? Big Gucci logos on a crappy sweatshirt or something like that. Those sell much better in the hood than they do in the boutique shop. Why? Because most people want luxury. They want to present as though they're doing well. So if we decided, if we decided that marriage is how you show the world, show your neighbors that you're living the good life, then maybe rates will increase. That's my take. Nobody listens to me though anyway, so but that's just my take on it. All right, what's next here? We got Politico. Global cybercrime syndicates, you hear that and you just get scared, are leveraging AI to craft hyper-realistic online personas targeting lonely individuals seeking companionship. Uh-oh. Maybe I need to delete that app. My God. This sophisticated scam has resulted in billions of dollars lost, showcasing the blend of emotional manipulation, financial exploitation in the digital age. With the rise of AI, the landscape for online dating has turned perilous, raising urgent questions about cybersecurity and the effectiveness of current regulations. I don't think that necessarily we need government regulation for dating sites, but if there's a 10 that's talking to you, it's AI. It's a scam. It's not. She's not that into you, bro. Yeah. So just be careful. If the hottie online asks for your credit card or has a sob story, it's probably not real. It's probably not real. But a lot of times, it's just like people want to believe, and that's why these cons work, right? And I think that probably AI might actually be able to do a better job of conning people than regular con artists. Because from what I can tell, the average AI is smarter than the average person. And plus, the AI could they wouldn't just have to work on a couple people at a time. They could be working on thousands of people at a time. It might mean that online dating is dead, but it's already dead. Online dating is already done. And I certainly wouldn't try to meet somebody online that doesn't live in your city that you can't meet up for a coffee because, they're AI. They're not real. Okay, what do we have here? Lutnick. Quote, "We're not going to let Chinese humanoid robots into this country." Okay. He was on the Alex Marlowe show, and the U.S. will prohibit the importation of Chinese humanoid robots. It is a move seen as part of a broader strategy to safeguard American innovation and national security by limiting foreign technology influence in key sectors. So, no cheap Chinese robots for you. We're going to have to buy overpriced American robots. They did this with drones, right? They no longer can you get the newest model of the DJI drone. It's a Chinese drone. I have one. They ended that. So they didn't want too much Chinese technology running around America. What's the new awesome American drone company? Still haven't heard of one. I don't know how I feel about this. I'd kind of like a humanoid robot. I mean, sure, they're going to be sending all your information back to China, but so does most of the apps that you have anyway. I don't know. But in many ways, you could think of the Chinese humanoid robot as the modern day Trojan horse, right? We let in these things and then they could really take over. I don't see China as the evil enemy that I think a lot of the narratives that we have in our country. But that's just me. That's just me. I think blocking these robots from coming in, we're just kind of playing defense, right? We need to be going on the offense. American companies need to be making these awesome humanoid robots. So we should really seize the opportunity, turbocharge our robotics sector. Yeah. Again, I don't even know if it's a good idea or not. What do you think? You think it's a good idea to ban Chinese humanoid robots? Yeah. All right. What do we got? What do we got here? This is Orban. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has voiced strong support for Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, framing it as essential to American national interests ahead of Hungary's elections. This endorsement raises questions about U.S. foreign policy priorities and the implication of backing a leader known for controversial stances on democracy and civil rights. Well, it's been my experience that when the permanent Washington, D.C. class has a problem with democracy, what that means is they've got a problem with who's in charge. And it's not democracy. It's that when Ukraine was overthrown, they had a problem with the democracy of the guy that was elected, right? These same people keep making the claim about, Nicolas Maduro, even though he got 87% of the vote or whatever in Venezuela. Oh, no, it's democracy. It's the wrong democracy, essentially. And I know that probably most people out there out there will not agree with me on this point. That's okay. We don't have to agree. But I think that they use the word democracy as a shield, as a red herring, okay? They don't have a problem with democracy. What they have a problem with is the person that actually won. They say this about Putin, right? They say that he's wasn't democratically elected, even though looks like he was. And then they say the same thing about Trump because Trump doesn't believe the election against Biden, the first one. He doesn't believe it, so therefore Trump is a threat to democracy. I think of the threat to democracy is a threat to, you know, the elites that are running the show. And I think it's good that Rubio is coming down on the side of Viktor Orban. I have seen Viktor Orban as one of the few leaders in Europe that is standing up against destroying Europe. So many of the leaders in Europe just seem hell-bent on wrecking that beautiful continent, and Orban is not one of them. So, yeah, I would agree that it is in the national interest of America that we back him. So, anyway, be on the lookout for anyone that calls about a threat to democracy. That's usually a tell. That's usually a tell. Well, lastly, I guess I kind of got some good news. Hit the good news.
I could use good news to pull me through.
Okay, I don't know if it's really good news, but we'll see if we can reframe it as such. A recent AARP survey reveals that older women voters are dissatisfied with the current state of the economy, leaving them open to supporting candidates from either political party. In the upcoming midterms, this demographic, historically a stronghold for Democrats, may shift the electoral landscape if their concerns are not addressed. Well, I see that as good news. Now, the thing is, it shouldn't just be this one time that older women are dissatisfied with the current thing and they're open to both sides. Guess what? Every single demographic should be open to the better idea. Every time. That's the way it should work. But so many people don't even look at any issues or anything. They know I'm Team Blue, I'm Team Red, whatever, and that's who I support, and that's that. That's the way it is. No, I think that this is a very positive thing, that according to this study, that older women are saying, hey, you know what? We're actually going to look at who might do a better job this time and not just blindly vote for the donkey, right? So I see that as good news. Maybe you see that as bad news. I don't know. Do you think they're going to come up with a name, right, for, you know, they often will come up with names for little demographics. You know, they have the soccer mom and the Joe Sixpack or whatever, and they have different names for different demographics of people. What are they going to come up with for older women that used to vote Democrat? Are they going to come up with a name for that? If you got any good names for that, let me know in the comments. I can't think of any that would be appropriate, so I'll just bite my tongue. But anyway, that's the show that I have prepared for you today on this President's Day. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, do me a solid. Hit the thumbs up button. Does it make a difference? Probably not. But it makes a difference to me. It lets me know that you care. Anyway, that's all I have. Stick around for the after show. I'll go through all your comments. And I guess I'll be back on Wednesday. Whatever. We'll see. Anyway, have a beautiful holiday. See if you can get a new deal on a mattress or something. Anyway, peace. What's up, everybody? Oh, we got some people joining us today. That is nice. Um, something must be wrong with my thing because I can't see that anyone is here. But you're here. So I'm not sure what's going on with Rumble Studio. I can look over here. I can see. What do we got here? We got like 9 people on Rumble. And we've got, well, that can't be right. 5 on YouTube. Hey, that's something. And is anybody on X? Nope, doesn't look like it, but I got a little spinny wheel. So, anyway, Natasha made it in early. Nice to see you today, Natasha. What is, let's see. Oh, where did my mouse go? There we go. What's up? We could call this Trump derangement syndrome epidemic era. Kind of broadens it out. Yeah, it's not, the idea is not, I didn't want to talk about just Trump on the day. I wanted, the idea is that we just kind of reduce these years into that president. And how many presidents do we really know, right? Trump is what, what's he, number 47? Something like that? How many of them do you know? Right? Probably not many. When we think about President's Day, we think about George Washington and Abe Lincoln because they had birthdays in February. And then I guess they want to be more inclusive. So, let's just make it President's Day. All the presidents, right? But how many do you know? Now, I did go through and I know them in order because I guess I'm a nerd like that. But I don't know what most of the presidents did at all. And I don't know much about that era. I wouldn't be able to, tell me about Fillmore, don't have a whole lot to say. What's up, Gonzo? Glad you're checking in. Nice analogy with the hood ornament. Thank you. Maybe we can get China to build an island out of the Mediterranean and encourage the Palestinians to relocate there. That would be interesting. I don't think anyone wants to relocate. Ever. Everyone just kind of feels obligated to certain lands, whether they're for whatever reason. Right? You grew up in a neighborhood, you think that I should be able to own a property in this neighborhood, and so my kids should be able to own a property in this neighborhood, and what happens if the neighborhood changes and becomes all multi-million-dollar properties and my kid only wants to work at Starbucks? They think that they should still be, like, no, I should be able to have a property. I don't know. It's not really how things work. Somebody says here, thinking is a threat to democracy. That is true. Oh, critical thinking. That is true. Gen Z passing on sex. Thanks, feminism. That's pretty accurate there. Doc, BBX. Most wars are bait and switch, but this one was just too obvious. Yeah, I was I'm not saying I'm not a dummy now, but I was a way bigger dummy back then. And even back then, it seemed like a scam to me. Oh, the screen just went out. How about that? Oh, now it's back on. Okay. Natasha says, I hear you young people saying that they don't want to bring kids into the world. It's too crazy. Also, LGBT don't naturally procreate, and that group is on the rise. That may be a little bit about it. This whole idea that, hey, don't bring kids if you can't afford them, blah, blah, blah. The only people that do that are kind of rich liberals, right? Or middle class kids that go to college. Those are the ones that get these narratives. You don't see that attitude in the poorer communities at all. That's like kind of a more, that's a luxury belief, if you will. Doc says Katie Porter is too crazy. I don't know about crazy, just nasty, nasty woman, nasty woman. Catholics seem to be rather liberal these days, perhaps thanks to the last pope. Again, like this, I think we assign things to the pope. I don't know. I gotta confess, I don't really follow why Catholics think about what they think about certain things and why those things have changed over time. I haven't really even looked into that. So I'm just talking here. A friend of a friend had 5 or 6 crypto catfish from dating site last year. Wish I could remember which site he used. Yeah, I think that is a thing that they, that they'll do. Is what is this doing here? We'll just. Oh, I had that up for. Let's. That should not be there. Put that down. It's some sweet girl from I don't know, the Philippines or something like that, and then you go back and forth with some sucker for a month, and then, oh my goodness, I have an emergency. My kid needs this thing, or my mom fell and she needs to pay to have her hip fixed or something like that. And you just send crypto and what? Yeah, scams all around, and it's too bad. But there've always been scams. I just think getting a lot easier now with AI for the scams. Thanks for another great show, Tom. Thank you, Gonzo, for tuning in. I appreciate it. And you're not AI. I know you're not. I know you're not. SOW. Sow. That's funny. So the name for a single older woman is a sow. Credit to Natasha there. I'll remember that. That's funny. That's actually funny. I should make a meme and post it on X. That's great. But TDS continued through Biden's presidency too, probably even past this presidency. There's a lot of TDS. I think it'll probably go down in, probably become a real diagnosis if it hasn't already. But yeah, that's it. But yeah, that was great. Thanks for the sow. What a great name for that. And I'll have to figure out what's going on with this screen behind me. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for joining me today and hanging out and the feedback and everything. But I'll be back on Wednesday with a big idea. Hope to see you then. We'll be at noon on the West Coast straight up. Until then, peace.